Over a year ago, I did a video on my channel where I went through all the debut albums in my collection at the time. Well, a year has passed and things have changed. Let's talk about them. Welcome to Brier's Music Showcase. I'm Bryer and welcome back to another video. So just like I said in that intro, it's been a year since I did that debut albums video, and I think the time is right to update it because I have gotten a lot more since then. So I'm going to be going through all the new ones that I have accumulated, and not as long as that original one, but pretty close. I think there's over 40 here, so I'm going to make these very brief. I'm just going to give my brief thoughts on them, and let's just see how long this takes us. So before I begin, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and let's get started. So I'm going by it's not really an order really. I just put them in a order. But first up, we have America with their debut. Again, big thing with debut albums, a lot of them are self-titled. This is no exception. This was a pretty good one. I mean, there's some songs on here that are great, some classics like Riverside, Sandman. Of course, has The Horse with No Name, probably my favorite song on here. Then you have I Need You. Let's see what else. It's hard to read because it's a small print. Let's see, I know there's more. Need You. Rainy Day is another very good one. Yeah, it's just a very strong debut. Again, folk rock at its finest. Some great harmonies on it, so awesome debut. This is one I got recently. We have the Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman Howe. Yes, I'm including One and Done albums, so even I believe this is the only album they released, but it is the first, so it counts. So very good, late 80s, 1989, progressive rock. I think it sounds very good for the time. And of course you have John Anderson, great vocalist, and you have Bill Bruford, Wick Wakeman, and Steve Howe as well. Just a very cool album. Really recommend it if you have not checked it out, if you're a Yes fan. Okay, next we have Are You Experienced by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. This is the last Jimi Hendrix album I got, thus concluding the trilogy. And very huge album when it came out from what I can gather. Obviously Jimi Hendrix, I mean, great guitar player, just one of the most influential one at that. Just some classic songs like here, like Purple Haze, Manic Depression, Hey Joe, This May Be Love, The Wind Cries Mary, and the title track Foxy Lady, of course. Just a great debut, great 60s psychedelic hard rock, very bluesy as well. Asia, another one I got recently. Just a good like pop rock type of sound, but still has some prog elements to it. Of course, there's some prog musicians on here like Jeff Downes, John Wetton, Steve Howe, Carl Palmer. Just a very cool album. I really enjoy this album a lot. Okay, you gotta censor this one. This is another One and Done. We have Blind Faith. Of course I have to censor it because this is the original cover. But yeah, just a good, another bluesy type of album. You have Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, Ginger Baker, and Rick Gretsch. Just very good album. Not one of my favorites, but very cool. It's a classic one, so very nice. Playing's also really good. Budgie, some more 70s hard rock. Again, I've talked about them before, but another like power trio. Again, I always say this, but the lead singer has a very uncanny resemblance to Geddy Lee almost, mainly because of the long hair and the glasses, and they both play bass. But they don't sound like Rush at all. They are completely different, and they do a very good job. Very heavy stuff for the time as well. Men at Work, business as usual. Some good old new wave, again, more pop rock. And from Australia, Colin Hay and Company. And I know there's another person that's also very big. What's the name? I forgot his name. Let me just look. Greg something. I just want to double check here. Greg Ham, that's it, because he's known for like all the saxophone and flute playing on the album. So very nice album. Very glad to have it. Here's another classic debut. We have Chicago with Chicago Transit Authority. That was the original name before they kind of had to change it to just Chicago. And man, what a great debut just to start out. I mean, it's a double album. I mean, a new band coming out with a double album. Like, man, the record label must have good faith in them. And for good reason, because it's just a terrific album. The playing is absolutely spectacular. It's very jazzy, yet it rocks out. Terry Kath's guitar playing is wonderful. The vocals are great. Just a great, great debut from a great band. Here's one from a very underrated band now. We have Mountain with Climbing, because get it? Mountain climbing. It's funny. Anyhow, this album is mostly known for the first song on here. It's also the single, Mississippi Queen. Just a great hard rock number. Just a very great guitar riff. Very heavy, too. Like, man, that's incredible. Leslie West, I believe, is the guitar player and vocalist. Just great stuff. Theme for Imaginary Western. Silver Paper, To My Friend, Sitting on a Rainbow, Boys in the Band. Killer album, killer stuff on it. Okay, next, Crosby, Stills and Nash. Good old folk rock at its finest. The harmonies are legendary for a reason. And, you know, I've been listening to this one quite a bit recently. More to come on that at a later date. But it's just a classic album by a classic trio. And of course they would get Neil Young into the fold later on, but when it was just the three of them, like, it was pretty good. Damn Yankees with their self-titled debut. Another one I was very surprised when I first heard it, because I didn't know what to expect, because you have Tommy Shaw of Styx, and then you have Ted Nugent, and then you have some other guys on here. It actually says them. Mike Cartleone. I hope I probably butchered that. And then you have Jack Blades, and yeah, that's the four of them. Just another very great album. Like, it's came out in 1990, I believe. Yeah, 1990 it says, and it's a great one. I really enjoy this one. Just another good hard rock album from that time period. Again, Tommy Shaw sounds great, and I know Ted probably sings some songs here, and he sounds pretty good as well. And yeah, songs like Coming of Age, Bad Reputation, High Enough, great little power ballad. The title track, Mystified, Tell Me How You Want It, Pile Driver. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ted wrote that one, but just another really great album. Eagles with their self-titled. Another great debut from a very well-known band. You have Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, Chug All Night, Nightingale, Early Bird, Peaceful Easy Feeling. Great stuff there as well. Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever. This is his first solo album, so it counts. This is him, well, without the Heartbreaker name attached to him. Of course, I'm pretty sure they still play on it. But regardless, I mean, it was produced by Mike Campbell, so that's also a thing. But anyhow, the album is still very good. You have classic songs like Free Falling and I Won't Back Down. Love Is a Long Road. It has a pretty good cover of Feel a Whole Lot Better by the Byrds. Pretty nice. Depending on You. Apartment Song. All Right for Now. Just a really good album. And of course, when you get the CD copy, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a little surprise if you have the CD copy, if you ever get one, if you haven't already. All right. Next up, another pretty obscure band to most people, but if you're a Prog fan, then you already know this band. Gentle Giant. Really do like this album cover though. Definitely catches your eye, and there's the full picture on the back there. So, Gentle Giant, this is their first album. Definitely very experimental, but I feel like they would do even more experimental stuff going forward. But for a debut, still very strong. A lot of good stuff. There's only 7 tracks on here, And I'm trying to remember, I think one of the songs was actually sampled by a very famous rap artist. I can't remember the details of it, but that's pretty interesting that a rap artist would sample something from here, which is just mind-boggling to me. I didn't think they'd be fans of it, but the more you know. Don't judge a book by its cover. But yeah, not much else to say. Produced by Tony Visconti, who's worked with David Bowie. Now here's one I wasn't sure to include in the first video because I did have it at that point, but I wasn't sure because here in America, this is what we think is the debut, but I know in their home country, Australia, they released 3 albums prior, but they were only released in their home country. Talking about some AC/DC. Here's High Voltage. So this is their first international album. So here in America, this is what we kind of consider the debut, but we all know that in Australia, they had already released 3 albums. And this album is kind of like a culmination of some of those albums, just taking some of the best songs from him. And yeah, I mean, it's AC/DC, this is Bon Scott and Angus Young, Malcolm Young, Phil Rudd, and some other bass player. Because I'm pretty sure Phil Rudd wasn't in the band yet. Let me just see, who was the bass player at this point? I'm just curious now that I think of it. Mark Evans. All right, interesting. But yeah, I mean, if you already know AC/DC, then you already know what to expect from here. I'm trying to put the booklet back, but yeah, not much else to say here. Let's keep on going because we still have a lot to go. Aha, Hunting High and Low, synth pop at its finest. I mean, Take On Me, the biggest hit on here, but other songs like Hunt, the title track, Train of Thought, The Sun Always Shines on TV, Love Is Reason. Pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. Some Blue Eyed Soul with Michael McDonald. Another pretty strong album. Not really an album I'll go out of my way to listen to very often, but has some nice songs, some very nice easy listening songs. Now here's a very good one right here. We have If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears by the Mamas and Papas. Terrific pop album here. You have so many songs, like top to bottom, like every song on here I really enjoy. And we all know the vocal harmony of this group is just another one of those legendary acts with some great vocal arrangements. So very good. Love it a lot. Alright, now we're showing some more extreme metal. Here is some Emperor, so got some black metal. So this is, I always forget how you say it, In the Night Side Eclipse. Very cool cover. I've always liked that about black metal. Some of the album covers are pretty cool, like this one right here. Just really like the dark colors, very harsh looking landscape it's showing. And they're on the back. You see some of the members there. So yeah, I mean, it's heavy, it's dark, it's cold, it's menacing, and even has some little bit of keyboards, which is kind of interesting. So I mean, technically this is under a subgenre of black metal called symphonic black metal, where they do incorporate some more symphonic elements to it, which to me makes a much more I guess accessible sound to it. I'm using that very lightly. I'm stretching that a lot because it's black metal still, but so yeah, I like this one. Very cool. Jackson Browne. It's his self-titled, although sometimes it gets confused when some people think it's called Saturated before using because of the text up here. But on research, it is just a self-titled album. It's just called Jackson Browne. Another one of those albums I was very surprised when I first heard, because I knew a lot of people talk about him quite a bit in the VC, so I thought why not give him a go, and I was very impressed. Very, very good songs. Like another one of those albums where top to bottom every song is great, and I love his voice too. Just very cool stuff. Okay, I want to say we're approaching the halfway point. Next, some more extreme metal. We have some death metal. Here is a band called Entombed, and this is their debut, Left Hand Path. Okay, I mean, if you know death metal, we all know it's known for its low guitar tones, that Cookie Monster vocal style. Here's a photo of the band there, of each member there. So again, I'm still very new to death metal. I've been meaning to try and get more into, but it's been a bit. I really should start going to more death metal and black metal, because I've taken a bit of break from both genres. So in the comments below, let me know if there are any other extreme metal albums I need to check out. Doesn't have to be debut, just, you know, because at some point I need to get back into that, just so I can keep it fresh, you know. Here's one I did have, but I don't know why I didn't show it in the original. This is kind of another one and done album. We have Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie. So this is the album that came out in 2017, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Here's what it looks like at the inside. So, you know, this is the closest you're ever going to get to a Fleetwood Mac reunion, because you do have Lindsey and Christine, but you also have Mick Fleetwood and John McVie playing, but it's just without Stevie. So, you know, that's a shame, but I've heard some people do consider this part of the Fleetwood Mac canon. I wouldn't blame them. I personally don't, but I think you can make a strong argument about it. I mean, there's some good songs on here. I mean, the Christine songs, of course, I love. But the Lindsey stuff is also pretty good as well. So, very strong album. Here's one I also bought recently, not that long ago. We have Molly Hatchet, another good southern rock band here. Like another great guitar band. Bounty Hunter, Gator Country, Big Apple, The Creeper, Trust Our Old Friend, Cheating Woman, I'll Be Running. Very good stuff. Probably I do want to check out more in the future. The Byrds with Mr. Tambourine Man. Again, another very strong debut. Again, you have Gene Clark, Roger McGuinn, David Crosby and company. I always forget the other members. I might as well take a look. Yeah, might as well give the other members some credit as well. Oh, Jim McGuinn. Is it Jim or John? I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's see. I already said Gene. Chris Hillman and Michael Clark. Was it Roger McGuinn or Jim McGuinn? Oh man, I'm pretty sure it's Roger McGuinn. I think technically it's Roger. I could be wrong right there. If I'm wrong, I'll probably put text on the bottom, but yeah, very nice. One and done again. We have the Sex Pistols with Nevermind the Bollocks. I mean, this is one of the most influential punk albums ever. I mean, John Lydon, Steve Jones. I mean, if you want to include Sid Vicious, even though he doesn't really play a whole lot on the album. Let's see. I already said Sid Vicious. Paul Cook on drums. And I'm trying to see. Does it even mention the original bass player? Because I know there was another bass player before Sid Vicious joined. Oh well. I think it was Glenn something. I'm not going to go any further, but another good album. I mean, it's a classic one. Cinderella, Night Songs. Good old bluesy hair metal at its finest. Again, very impressed when I first heard this one. Patti Smith with Horses. I probably need to listen to this one a bit more. Didn't fully grab me on first listen, but I know Patti Smith is known for being a good poet, and she puts all that into her music. So I probably need to listen to this a bit more. Peter Gabriel with his self-titled debut, or Car, if you want to say. Very strong debut. A lot of good songs on here. Salisbury Hill, Modern Love, the first song, I'm not going to try. All those are really good. Slow Burn, Waiting for the Big One, Here Comes the Flood. Some fantastic stuff there. Alright, John Lennon's up next, and I have Plastic Ono Band. I know they were those experimental stuff she did with Yoko, but you know, it's credited as John and Yoko, so it's kind of a bit different. So this is his first like solo album, so just John Lennon, nobody else. And I mean, it's a terrific album. I mean, it's emotional. You can feel the rawness in John's voice, just pouring all his, I don't know, his insecurities, some of his sadness, his anger. Just makes it a very memorable listening experience. It's probably my favorite album of his so far. Santana, self-titled debut, good old Latin rock. I mean, Carlos Santana's guitar playing is legendary for a reason. Skid Row, okay, kind of towards the end of the hair metal craze. I like it. It's not my favorite. I think it's probably my least. Actually, no, that's a lie. It's not my least favorite debut on this whole stack, but it's kind of one of them. But I do still kind of like it. Now here's one that was kind of like, okay, it's fine, I guess. We have the Hollies with their debut. Stay with the Hollies. I mean, you know, they're a new band. Of course, there's gonna be a crap ton of. Let me say that again. Crap ton of covers. And yeah, it's fine. You know, nothing to write home about though. I'm still not. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on the Hollies, but based on what I've heard, this is by far the weakest one I've heard. But again, it's mostly because of the covers, and you don't really get the stuff. You don't really get the stuff that they're going to be known for early on yet, or later on, I should say. But it's part of their history, so might as well. All right, Taylor Dayne. This is Tell It to My Heart. You know, just 80s pop, soul, I guess. I don't really know, honestly. It's fine. I like it. It's not bad. Pearl Jam. Very good album. Again, this is grunge. And, you know, many people like to crap on Eddie Vedder, or people are just sick of Eddie Vedder. But I like him. I've always liked his voice. I never mind. It never bothered me that much. Kind of interesting. Definitely unique for the time. But yeah, I dig it. And also some good guitar work on it. Very nice. We have Electric Light Orchestra with their debut. It has two names. It's technically supposed to be the Electric Light Orchestra, but of course the whole story is that, you know, when the publishers in America were trying to get a hold of the band on the name of the album, they didn't get an answer. So when I guess the representative was telling the publishers, like, the publisher was like, hey, what's the name of the album? And the representative just said, oh, no answer. And boom, they decided to call it just No Answer. So kind of a funny story. I don't know if I explained it that well, but hopefully you get the idea. Tears for Fears with The Hurting. Again, they're a new band by this point, so I think they would do a whole lot better on the next album, which of course it's Song for the Big Chair. But this is still some interesting stuff here. Of course, it's most notable for having the original Mad World, which, you know, we all know the very sad rendition of it. But the original is pretty cool, and you know, the rest of the songs are also kind of nice, but again, not my favorite. The Monkees with their self-titled, very good debut. I mean, you have the title, you have the theme song starting us off, "I Want to Be Free," Papa Jean's Blues, Last Train to Clarksville. Of course, it has "Gonna Buy Me a Dog," which is just a, you know, I get it. It's supposed to be like a throwaway comedy, jokey song, but I'm like, okay, kind of a weird way to close it out, but you know, it's whatever. Okay, The Tubes, their debut. Very cool album. This is another one I need to listen to more, because I feel like the more I hear it, the more I'm gonna like it, because there's some really cool stuff in terms of the music, and the vocals are kind of interesting as well. So yeah, definitely need to check that one out. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, the Velvet Underground Nico. Another classic 60s album, very experimental, very dark too, because definitely this was very different from all the stuff that was popular at the time. You have Lou Reed on here, John Cale, Maury Tucker. And let me just check out. Of course, Nico was another big part of this album. Sterling Morrison, I said Maury Tucker, and of course also produced by Andy Warhol. So yeah, this album's not going to be for everybody, but you know, me personally, it's one of my favorites. One of my favorite debut albums. Okay, this one's, I don't know if this is cheating, because this is technically not the debut, but it is. So we have The Who, and I have the American debut. This is The Who Sings My Generation, but in the UK it's just called My Generation, but with a different cover. But it's close enough, you know. It's a pretty good debut. Of course, it has the title track, The Kids Are All Right, Out of the Street, The Ox, you know, Legal Matter. Yeah. Again, they would do a whole lot better moving forward, but for a debut, it's all right. Tracy Chapman. Very nice album. I dig it. Another one I need to listen to again. It's been a bit, but from what I remember, there's some good songs on here. And I do like her voice, very different, and musically has a nice vibe to it. Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1. Great supergroup here. So many songs on here. I mean, my favorite song on here is End of the Line, which is the final song. Just a great way. Kind of sums up the whole band, in my opinion. Very nice. I enjoy it. All right, Steve Hackett. We have Voyage of the Acrolite. Very cool album. I think it's kind of a concept album, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. Musically, very cool. I mean, great guitar work, of course. And you have Mike Rutherford and Phil Collins guesting on this album, which is kind of cool, actually. It's kind of nice that they're helping him out on his debut. You know, let me just see. I'm just looking through real quick. I know Phil is on a track or two. Yeah, I can't remember which song, but I know Phil can be heard singing on one of the songs. But yeah, very cool. Nearly there. We have 4 more to go. Simon and Garfunkel, Wednesday morning, 3 a.m. Pretty good debut. It's my least favorite Simon and Garfunkel album, but in all honesty, that it doesn't mean a whole lot because all the albums are pretty good in their own right. And for a debut, it's very solid. It didn't sell well, but it has the original version of Sounds of Silence, which is just the acoustic version. And I'll say that I think the acoustic version is better than the electric version, which is, again, most people are more familiar with the electric version, but I just feel the acoustic version really fits the lyrics a lot better. In my opinion, at least in my opinion, I just think it matches the tone. But you know, the electric version is still pretty good as well. I still enjoy that one, but when I want to listen to the Sounds of Silence, it's usually just the more sparse, more I guess silent version of Sounds of Silence. Alright, Wild Cherry. Okay, funk rock, bit of dance, you know, play that funky music, and you know, the rest of the songs are also not bad. I don't have a lot to say on that one. Okay, Wilson Phillips, pretty good. I like it. Obviously, it has 2 of the daughters of Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, and then you have the daughter of Michelle Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas, and they sound very good together. Another one I need to re-listen to again because I can't really remember some of the songs, but I remember hearing it and I enjoyed it. So take that for what you will. And the final one to close out this video, we have the self-titled debut of Wishbone Ash. Another pretty good prog rock, hard rock, maybe a bit of blues. Let me just show off the whole artwork. Just the giant wishbone. kind of interesting. I like that. But yeah, you have the twin guitars, Andy Powell and Company here. Very cool. Only 6 songs on here. It's, for the most part, is instrumental, but there are some vocals here and there. So yeah. All right, so there you have it. That is all the debuts I have picked up since the last one. So hopefully you enjoyed this. In the comments below, let me know what was your favorites among these. And if you have not seen my original debut album video, I'll leave a link in the description so you go ahead and check it out. So yeah, maybe this will be a yearly thing. Maybe every year we'll show any more debuts. And yeah, other than that, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this, and again, please give this video a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.